Do you want to know how I saved $12,500 at lunch? $12,500 at lunch. Think of this. Has this ever happened to you? You get to the job site on a Monday, ask the guys what they worked the previous week. We used to do paper time cards. I'd show up whenever I showed up on Monday and say, hey guys, I need your time cards. A couple of the guys would always have them filled out. They'd hand them to me. A couple of other guys would run back to their cars or truck, talk about amongst of each other. They'd hand me some cards. The other guy would fill out another card. I ended up with 5 or 6 cards in my hand. Amazing. They all worked 8 to 4:30. Nobody was ever late. No one ever left early, and they took exactly a half hour for lunch. I'm Ron Ramsden. I'm a DYB coach, also a painting contractor up here in Massachusetts. That happened to me all the time. But what really opened my eyes was I was actually with the guys at lunch one day. So actually, we're working down the street from my house, so I went over there just to chat and that, and it was about lunchtime. So showed up at lunch. I had 6 guys on this job. 2 of them brought their lunch. 4 of them brought their lunch, and 2 didn't. 2 of the guys stayed back with lunchtime and ate their lunch. The other guys jumped in a car to go to the sub shop. 2 of the guys ate while they were in the car and chatting and everything else, and went out and smoked a cigarette and came back, and they all came back. They sat down, and one of the guys ate his lunch in the car. The other one was still eating. The other 2 got the subs. They sat down and they ate, and then they all got up together and went to work. That was 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Okay, I don't want to be a jerk. I don't want to be like so tight that I can't give 40 minutes. But let's break down some numbers to show you what 10 minutes at lunchtime that day cost me. So we're going to think that if that happened that day, there's a good chance that it happened every other day. So let's do it this way. $12,500. That's what I told you it just cost me. $12,500. $12,500. So $12,500. That's what lunch cost me that I couldn't really write off. No one was punched in. There was no production made. Just $12,500. The way I came up with that number is this. So I had 6 men who took 10 minutes a day extra for lunch. And I'm not saying they did it on purpose. This is just what happened. Time flies. So that equals 1 hour a day. So we lost, just for that extra 10 minutes over the 6 guys, we lost an hour a day. So 1 hour a day times 5 days a week equals 5 hours. So 5 hours a week lost time just at that 10 minutes at lunch. 5 hours times 50 weeks. I'm giving them, we have vacation, we have stuff. So 5 hours times 50 weeks equals 250 hours a year. Okay, now this is where the numbers start to hurt. 250 hours at a billable rate of $50 equals this magic number, $12,500. Okay, let's go a little higher. This was a couple years ago. $60 billable rate times 250 hours. 250 times $60 equals $15,000 a year. Okay, we'll say, well, that's depending on the region of the United States you are and your billable and how big your company is. Let's take it down a notch. 250 times $40 billable rate is, I don't know if you can see that. You can't see that, but that's $10,000. Let's bring that down here. See down here? $10,000 at a billable rate of $40. So the way we corrected this is we started using a program called T-Sheets. T-Sheets work great for us. There's other options out there. We don't get any affiliate marketing. We don't get paid for saying their name. I'm just telling you what works for us. So basically what T-Sheets is everybody with a phone can, with a smartphone, can just clock in and clock out on their phone. If they have a flip phone, and I have someone with a flip phone who's still old school, can actually text in to clock in and clock out. Some of that doesn't have some of the connection, but at least we know he's clocking in and clocking out. And the reason I do this is I want to be able to pay my guys for every minute they work. I have a couple guys who, if they get to the job site at 10 minutes before work, and I'm just going to use 8 o'clock because those are our winter hours, 8 to 4:30. If they show up at 10 o'clock and they're able to get into the house, they start getting ready. They start moving things around. They start setting up drop cloths, things like that. I want to pay them for if they're working. And secondly, imagine if they got hurt while they're doing that and they're not even on the clock yet. So let's pay the guys for every minute they work. But they might take a 35-minute lunch. They might have to leave at 20 past 4. They might leave at 4. They might finish up for the day. And you know what? If you ask me on a Monday at 11 o'clock what I worked last Tuesday morning, what time I got to work, I'm going to assume I got there on time. I'm not going to remember. I had a dentist appointment. I actually didn't get in until 9:30. I forgot that I actually had the day off. Oh, I forgot all about that. Well, let's be fair for everybody. Let's count the hours that people work. And then also, they actually forget they work overtime when they used to keep their own records. You know, they'd say, oh yeah, I forgot we worked till 4:45 that day. We wanted to finish up the back deck. Let's pay everybody for what they're worth. And then we can also, our job costing, because then with T-sheets, they clock in and clock out under a specific job. So if we're doing the Smith residence, or we're doing Bob's deck, or we're doing 123 Main Street Power Wash, they clock in and clock out. And if they're moving from job to job, they actually switch over to different jobs. This allows us to grab the data, the hours worked for that job, associate with the materials, and now we have a cost of what it actually costs to do that job. Before, it was too sporadic. We were kind of throwing dots at a big wall with no target. We really didn't know what it is. So that's one way we can use it. Let's hit the cost of T-sheets right now. T-sheets is $20 a month to have a company registered and actually being a user. And then it's $5 per user. So if you had 5 people using T-sheets, including the $20 for the month, it would cost you $45 a month. This is tax write-off. This $12,500 is missing. Thinking of it that way. Secondly, another thing we're able to do with T-sheets is we'll be on the Smith. We'll use the Smith job. We're on the Smith interior, and we're doing wallpaper removing. We're doing painting of baseboards, and we have to really figure out our production rates. So we can break down different jobs with T-sheets for no additional cost. We could have 30 jobs on there, and they'll actually click in that they're doing interior wallpaper removal. Well, I guess they'll all be interior. Most people don't wallpaper outside. But wallpaper removal in the room. And then they'll clock out when they're finished. Or they're painting one wall. Or they're just cutting a room. They can clock in for that room and they can clock out for that room. This gives us really great production rates. There's some other things in it. It also syncs to different things that you can use. It also gives you some GPS monitoring if you're into that and watching where the guys are. It's all included with this, and it has so many features. This is T-sheets. I know there's some other options out there. I know T-sheets. I use T-sheets. This actually syncs over to QuickBooks Online. Works awesome. So I just wanted to show you how I found $12,500. Like I said, this is not to be big brother. This is to actually pay the guys for the hours they're working overtime and be able to set my production rates and job costing so much easier, finding $12,500 a year. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm at ron@dybcoach.com. Send me a message, ask me a question, post them here, or send them on Facebook, as many of you have. I'm Ron Ramsden. I'm a DYB coach, also a painting contractor in Massachusetts. I help painters work on their business so they don't have to work in the business. Thanks for watching, and take care.